All right, Deadpool. So this is an unscripted, movie review. So I'm just gonna say what's off the top of my head, and kind of just wanted to get it out there before I really start getting this channel started off. And so yeah, so to give you my views on Deadpool, I would say that this was the funniest one. Let me know what you think. I thought this was the funniest one, and I think I liked it out of all the other two. But I have to say, I think when it comes to the first two. They were really funny, and I feel like the violence and the what do you call it, like the kind of like the vulgar, bloody scenes. I feel like were kind of appropriate for the first two, and again, it was appropriate for this one, but I feel like it was a bit much. I feel like the violent and vulgar scenes were I mean, I feel like I didn't like that part as much in this one because I feel like they kind of overdid it. I don't know if you remember there was that scene where Wolverine and Deadpool are in the car, and again, it's a very funny scene. You have like this sort of dramatic, conversation between them for the the violence and the bloody scenes start. But I feel like it was like very overdone, and that I think but it's not enough to hurt the film because it's kind of expected. Everybody kind of wants that sort of comic book, gore and I feel like that's understandable, but I feel like they use it as kind of filler for this one. So I feel like that's something that could have hurt the film, but not enough because I feel like there was a lot of things going for it. Like for example, they they introduced it into the MCU, and so you had that Deadpool formula, but you also had the MCU in there, and I think that that kind of complemented one another. You also had a lot of drama in this one. I think that was kind of refreshing. You had you had Ryan Reynolds Deadpool um, basically having these like really these true down to earth moments when it came to his friends and family. I won't give it away, but and then also in regards to Wolverine. And Wolverine, I think Hugh Jackman was really, really good. I feel like the car scene was probably his best performance. I think he was dramatic. I think he was in character, and I feel like that really complemented Deadpool, Deadpool's character, and also Wolverine. Them together, they were a good complement. And so even though you had a lot of those vulgar, bloody scenes, that probably wasn't enough to like hurt the film. I think it was just the problem was it was a bit too much filler. So I think, but then you had a lot of the cameos, and I feel like it was like an X-Men film. You had a lot of cameos. There were some cameos that I thought were gonna. There were some characters that I thought were gonna make an appearance. And I was a little bit upset at first that I didn't get to see the ones that I wanted to see. I won't say who was in there or who was not, but I think everybody kind of knows this is like a kind of an X-Men film. But I was kind of expecting that there would be some older MCU characters in there. But now that I think about it, it probably was a good idea to not include them because it's probably better to see Deadpool see these characters in the future, to like meet with them in the future. So I feel like that wasn't enough either to, hurt the film. The cameos were good, and it's probably good that some of the ones that I'm thinking about didn't make, even though you might think that it's, but you don't see those particular characters, the characters that you think, just based off of seeing the trailer and seeing some of the clips, they don't make it in there. But that's okay. And then what else? I think that it was just funnier than the other two. I think I feel like they put a lot of jokes in there, and maybe about 98% of it was 98% of it was funny. I feel like there was like maybe a couple times where the jokes were not really all that funny because when you make a movie with so many you know comic scenes and and so many jokes, like there's a chance that some of them are not going to land, but majority did. Like 98% of the jokes were funny, and I feel like this is the one film where you have a lot of that breaking the fourth wall. I feel like that was probably the, this is like one of the films where that constantly happens, and they make fun of that. They make fun of breaking the fourth wall. They make fun of there's a bit of like multiverse parody in there. So I feel like it was kind of refreshing, and yet it's still they kind of fit that MCU formula perfectly in there, but it didn't feel like an MCU film. It felt more like an actual Deadpool film, even though they make fun of a lot of stuff. They break the fourth wall. Yeah, I feel like again, it would have been cool. Now I'm going back to the cameos. It would have been cool to see one other, like one character that you think you're gonna see in there, but you kind of end up don't not seeing. Um, it would have been nice if they were in there, but I think it's probably better maybe that Deadpool meets them in the future and then becomes like this true Avenger, and so I think that's gonna be cool. It's kind of preparing us for like the next couple of MCU films that are coming up, the Avengers and after. So let's see what happens, and I'm hoping that yeah, I'm hoping that this is going to be like a reboot for the MCU. We've had some pretty good films come out in the past for MCU as well. I just feel like we need to get to a time where we see the Avengers again, and I think seeing Deadpool with Guardians of the Galaxy or Thor would be really really cool. And so like just everybody basically. So overall, I thought that it was funny. I thought it was funnier. I thought the other two, and it was probably a little more versatile too, because I feel like the first two kind of you're in either one or two places, but this time it feels like a Deadpool film, but you're also kind of in an MCU situation too, because like you're not in one place, you're in several places, and I feel like that was kind of refreshing for the Deadpool movies, because I feel like Deadpool is largely in like one place in the first two films, whereas in this one he's in many different places. So I think this is probably the better one. I feel like you had these characters that complemented each other as opposed to them all being comedic, and then you have the MCU isms in there, but then you also have a Deadpool film. You have a lot of parodies. The jokes are funnier. You have a lot, but like most of them are pretty good. But the majority, like 98%, are pretty good. Some are just kind of like okay, they're kind of there, but overall I really enjoyed it. You go out and watch it if you're into X-Men, if you're into the MCU, if you're into Deadpool, like everything is in there. Again, there's a bit of filler with the jokes and some of the violence too. It's just kind of like filler. It's like they're just kind of showing you, characters, fighting, and like, it's just like I said, I mean, there's a bit of filler, but mostly it's pretty good. So that's kind of that's kind of what I think about it. And I don't know, what do you think about this? Is it not as good as the first two? Is the first one better? I certainly like this one better, but let me know what you think. And if there's anything else that I forgot to say, maybe I'll come back and talk about it again. But I think, given that this is not scripted, let me see. Yeah, I think that's about everything. I think I kind of addressed everything. So let me know what you think. And thanks for watching.